right, just going live here. And we're live, guys. And now, good morning, everybody on Instagram, everybody on YouTube. I'm going to chill just for a couple seconds here because I know it takes a couple of minutes to get the notification, to sign on, to jump on, to start chatting. But it's Monday. It's Monday, probably sometime in mid-spring, I'm guessing, by the looks of it outside. Actually, I'm kidding, guys. It's May the 4th, and May the 4th be with you. Yes, that's right. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars, because how could you go around on May the 4th and not mention anything about Star Wars, particularly since Disney Plus just announced that all 9 Skywalker Saga films are available streaming live on Disney Plus. So now, whenever you want, you can watch all 3. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like, well, Disney Plus came out several months ago, and I've been watching the only Star Wars movies I want to watch. Guys, I might poo-poo Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and that's only because it's terrible. It's a bad movie. I'm sorry, it's a bad movie. The original movies are good movies, but we'll get to that, guys. What's up, Bad Expressionship? Thank you for joining me on Aristotle Full Throttle, live on Instagram, live on YouTube, and it just occurred to me I should also stream live on Twitch, so I'm going to be doing that probably starting tomorrow. We're going to be streaming live on 3 platforms. It's never been done before. It's totally, completely unheard of. I am crazy for even imagining it. What's up, Kara, on YouTube? Why would you watch all 3? There's no reason to watch all 3, Kara. You wouldn't have to watch all 3. I only watch 3 of the 9 because there's only 3 good ones that I like. There's only 3 good ones. And one of those 3 good ones is, it's arguably not that good, but you know what? At least we'll have the original series. I turned into that guy. What's up, Kelsey, Alabama? I'm waving to you. May the 4th be with you. Today we're talking about Star Wars because it's May the 4th. And on account of the way those words string together, they coalesce with the cultural phenomenon called Star Wars when they say May the Force be with you. So now May the 4th is just arbitrarily the day which we all think about Star Wars. Great marketing tool, if you ask me. I mean, friggin' Disney using a day, an entire day? Good for them. Smart. Kudos, Disney. Who you got running there? Who you got running your whole ship there? Who started that Disney place? What, an ex-Nazi sympathizer? Guys, it's true. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but Walt Disney was not the friendliest of... He was not the most non-Nazi type of dude. But hey, history is funny. It's funny because when you watch Disney Plus, what they do before a lot of the older cartoon animated movies, they say, look, guys, when you watch this movie, there's going to be like a lot of racism, okay? So just be prepared for that. When they animated this, when they spent months and years animating this and depicting minorities very unfavorably, it was a different time, guys, okay? It was just a different time. People thought differently. So when you watch Fantasia, when you watch Song of the South, when you watch these movies, these animated movies, just be prepared for some good old-fashioned racism. But I was watching a comedian. He was hilarious. He said this, comedy is so funny. That's what I said. But he said, it's funny when they say, he's like, my grandfather uses the N-word, but then my grandmother's like, oh, that's just him. He's from a different time. And then the guy goes, no, he's not. He was from a different time, but now he's from now. So yeah, guys, The point is to keep up with culture, keep up with modern culture, keep up with popular culture, even if it means watching Star Wars Episode 9 two times, and only the second time under protest. Under full protest. I said I was never going to watch Star Wars Episode 9 again, The Rise of SKYWALKER crap, whatever that crap movie is, and then my friends were like, no, listen, go see it again, bro. It's going to be fine. Just go see it again, give it another chance. And I was like, I don't want to give that movie another chance. It's a bad movie. I already gave it 2 hours of my time. Now I got to go watch it again. And then they were like, just go watch it and tell us what you think. So then finally, 3 weeks after it came out, I saw it the night it came out. 3 weeks after it came out, I saw it again. You know what? I didn't hate it. But since then, I've learned to hate it again. Guys, what's your favorite Star Wars? What's your favorite Star Wars movie? The whole saga is on Disney Plus. You might be watching it right now as I speak. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it was worth all 9 movies? Do you think they could have just done it in 4? We could have done this in 4 movies. We really could have done this. We really could have cut this short by at least 5 movies. Imagine the meeting where someone said, let's buy Star Wars. Oh, that would have been a fun meeting, right? That's a good imagination. I would imagine Captain Disney, Professor Disney, the president of Disney, whoever that is, Kathleen Kennedy, whoever was in charge. She was put in charge of buying Star Wars, actually. George Lucas said, listen, Disney, I'm going to sell you Star Wars, but you got to give it to Kathleen Kennedy because she's one of the greatest producers of all history. And it's true. If you look at her IMDb, she has got some of the biggest movies that would blow your mind that she produced. So lots of Spielberg movies, lots of crazy good movies. But that meeting would go a little something like this. I'm not going to do a freaking scene. I'm not going to do a character. Maybe I will. Maybe, if you coax me. Yeah, but I could imagine Mickey Mouse sitting there going, we own everything. We own everything already. I mean, God is pretty much Jesus himself. Serves us hors d'oeuvres. Come here, Jesus. He loves and has been perfect. Not perfect. It hasn't been perfect, but it is probably, and it definitely is, the most valuable property in Hollywood, or was until Marvel came along, that was independently owned, I guess. It was owned by George Lucas. George Lucas is... I have Star... Dude, like, one life. The guy who probably drew on his little spiral notebook cover in pen and ink, would draw on little like TIE fighters and stuff in high school. That guy's got like billions of dollars now because we all were like, hey, what's that on your spiral notebook, nerd? And then he's like, I don't know, I'm just going to turn this into like a mega franchise one day and then maybe like take over the world and everybody will love me. George Lucas is a genius, people. Ladies and gentlemen, George Lucas is in fact a genius. A certifiable genius. You know what it is to be a genius? It means that you've changed the medium in which you work. It means that the medium was one way, then you came along, and now it's different. Geniuses do that. Sorry, I got distracted. I was talking about geniuses and I forgot what everything I was thinking because I'm clearly not a genius. So what happens is it goes inside their brain, they turn it around and they make it a whole new thing. They turn it into a new deal. For instance, before George Lucas came along, movie theaters were just theaters that they brought like screens to and put projectors in the back of. So there would be theaters constructed in ways that you would just go see like a play. And that's where you saw a movie at a movie house. However, George Lucas said, hey, how about we like put speakers all along the walls and make the seats in such a way that everyone can see and on an incline. That was all George Lucas's ideas. THX surround sound, the whole concept of having different sounds in different areas of the screen and on Look at this guy. Mickey Mouse must have loved this dude. Hey, George. You want anything? I mean, seriously, just ask Jesus. Jesus will he'll go to the fridge and get it for us. Isn't that something? We're Disney. We own Jesus. Disney. You don't like the movie? Here's Darth Vader, people. Yeah, Darth Vader is the movie is awesome. Yeah, I'm totally with you on this one, Kara. Kara is commenting over there on YouTube. It's so true. They were like, Disney's like, see, when George Lucas had Star Wars, he said, "Hey, I got Star Wars. I can make anything I want. It's a whole galaxy far, far away, and I could literally design anything I want. New villains, new stories, new anything I could do in this universe." So Disney bought all the things, and then Disney was like, what do people like? They like Darth Vader. They like Yoda. They like lightsabers. How do we put them all in the movie? And how do we just keep putting them all in the movie? Because people really seem to like those things. People's like those things. I don't know. They like it. So Disney just keeps recycling. And this is why Star Wars has fallen off. I thought this was a celebration day for Star Wars, I said to myself just now. But it's not. It's actually ridiculing Star Wars for dropping the ball. Listen, Star Wars. You dropped the ball. You could have made up anything. You could have you're a galaxy far, far away. You're a fairy tale. You're a story. You're a complete and utter fantasy that's never existed before. Film. Film is the medium in which you were born. Film is the medium in which you could thrive. It is the medium that makes the most sense for a movie for a thing like Star Wars. So when it happens that you just keep recycling things, you just keep showing us the same thing over and over again, I get a little disappointed, because you literally can go into a Star Wars movie and they could just make it up. They could say that this guy has snakes for hands, his name is Squelch, and he's a mechanic. And you just be like, okay, sure, fine. This person has just lasers for eyes, and they're made mostly of tapioca. All right, that's cool with me. Star Wars, universe in which anything can happen. I mean, I always make fun of magic, the whole concept of magic in movies, because I think it's funny. I think when you're stuck in a situation and you can get out of it using Deus Ex Machina, meaning out of, like, the machine becomes God or whatever. That's Latin. There's a pet peeve I have when I'm watching a movie, and you're watching the movie and you're like, oh my God, how the hell are our heroes ever going to get out of this? And then all of a sudden someone shows up out of nowhere for no reason and is like, I'll save the day. Happen a lot. There are movies where it makes no sense, where there's just like a Deus Ex Machina of like, there was a movie called The Stand, which was based on a Steven Spielberg novel, which is pretty good. It's pretty cool. It's actually appropriate for now, because what happens is there's a plague that takes over the whole world and kills most people except for like a couple 100,000 people. And then all those people are kind of traveling the earth, finding themselves, building little communities. It's a really good story. But the movie, spoiler alert, the show, spoiler alert, the book, spoiler alert, there's a Deus Ex Machina that saves the whole day, and you just go, wait, just a goddamn minute to use a pun, to use something that actually refers to something in that movie. Jesus, I would like maybe a chocolate croissant from the buffet, please, Jesus. Thank you. Here at Disney, Jesus is our intern. That was Mickey Mouse. Hey, Mickey, listen, I feel really bad asking Jesus Christ himself to wait on us like this. Don't worry about it. He's got it, bro. Yeah, but don't you think it's a little sacrilegious, Mickey? Nah, man. Everybody has a price. Jesus works for cheap. Oh, good God. A lot of people are like damning me to hell right now. I'm just imagining a scenario in which Jesus served Disney snacks. I'm just imagining it. Guys, it's imagination. It's not real, but it would be real funny. Hey, Jesus, when you get me that croissant, could you break it for me? Could you place it on my tongue, Jesus? Breaking bread with Jesus. This isn't the croissant that I wanted, Jesus. Get out of here. You're fired. Imagine firing Jesus. It's like, look, I know this comes at a bad time for you, Jesus. And I know later I might regret this. But Jesus, come on. You dropped the ball. You got me an apricot Danish. Is it apricot or apricot? Because I always think of apes. J.J. Abrams let Rey die in the movie Mickey, but Kylo heals her. J.J. how mouse the Force. Yeah. Did you think that there was going to be a sad ending for this episode 9, owned by Disney? Disney studies how cute things are. Disney literally studies how cute things are. Like, they will take a science machine, and put their drawings through it and make sure that everything looks just the right amount of cute for people. This is not far from the truth. If you guys look this up, it's all science. It's all been recorded. Now, Disney will draw eyes so that they're scientifically perceived as cute and likable. It's a weird situation. It's what James Cameron did with the Na'vi people in the Avatar movies, because those alien types of folks, they're kind of like, you're like, they look definitely alien, but I'm not really afraid of them, and they're actually kind of cute. And he did that on purpose. He used your brain chemistry and your knowledge and your know-how and your understanding of what, not your understanding, your primal instinct for what you find attractive and cute. And he said, all right, let's do that. Kind of did that with E.T. Remember, they gave E.T. giant, big old eyes, even though I was still afraid of E.T. when I was a baby child. I was frightened. It's like, what is this alien? Get him out of here. He's kind of squashy and gross. He looks like a space chimp. Put him back up into space. I can't take it. E.T., go home. Wow. 18 minutes in and we're on fire. Guys, Star Wars. What's your favorite Star Wars? Which one? Which episode is your favorite? Now streaming on Disney Plus. Isn't that exciting? What we do here on Aristotle Full Throttle every day here at noon. Also on AristotleFullThrottle.com. You can also search Aristotle Full Throttle on Twitch, because I'm going to start streaming there too. We're going to be streaming all over the platforms. And that's a sentence I would not have understood when I was 12. Yo, dude, you're going to be streaming on so many platforms? If I go back to my 12-year-old self and explain to him what was going on right now, it's like, listen, there's going to be like a couple of months where you don't do much, but you're going to get a lot of fans. You're going to be streaming on so many platforms. It's going to be insane. Insanely fun. So, guys, Star Wars. What's your... see, J.J. Abrams let... Kara is saying how J.J. let Rey die. Yeah. He did. He let her die. But he didn't let her die. Because I would have liked... Here's where Star Wars Episode 9 dropped the ball. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing. It's May 4th. If you have Disney Plus, you can watch it right now. Come back and watch the restream of this. The replay. But, yeah. They should have just let Kylo Ren kill. Kylo kills. Shouldn't just let him kill everybody and then him be the bad guy. But they couldn't do that because they didn't know how to do that. They really didn't. They really didn't know. Disney really didn't know how to just let it be evil. Let the story go where it's going to go. They were like, well, we got to reel things in because people want to see some more stuff. We got to show them all the things before we run out of movies to show. And they gave us Lando. They gave us all sorts of stuff. They gave us 14 different lightsaber duels in episode 9. They gave us Rey dying, but then coming back to life. But she should have just died. And then, hey, what? Like, she should not have died. What's his name? Kylo Ben should have killed himself to save the whole galaxy, and then that would have been the only way to redeem him posthumously. Even though, you know, he's kind of a dickweed, really. But oh, guys, I heard that Adam Driver actually he broke his back. I'm not sure if you heard this, but it's very serious. He broke his back carrying those last 3 movies. Yeah, Adam Driver is probably the best actor in all 3 of those movies. Oscar Isaac is good. He's very charismatic. I would say that on the charisma meter, that Finn is off the charts. John Boyega, that dude is like hilariously charismatic, untouchably charismatic. And then, but the best actor in all of these movies, and smartly and goodly, is definitely Adam Driver. Adam Jones is the guitar player for Tool. I don't know how well he acts, but he did do the special effects for the Jurassic Park movie and the Predator movie. And he was a guitar player and is a guitar player, and he directs different videos and various whatnot. What's up? Do not follow me. I'm serious. Dooney, I call you. We're talking about Star Wars today because it's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. What's your favorite? Let's count them down. Worst to best. I could do that. The Skywalker Saga only. And then maybe we could insert the other 4 movies that they added. There are like 4 extra movies. No, wait. There are 2 extra movies. All the fake deaths, yeah. Chewbacca, C-3PO, Giant Worm, Kylo again, and then Rey. Yeah, a lot of people died, but didn't really die in episode 9. Episode 9. Seriously, I'm not a fan. I'm gonna say, starting at the very bottom rung, and this is controversial. People say, "Hey, man, how can you say that?" And I just say, "Hey, let me tell you how I could say this, because it's true." Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is the worst Star Wars movie. It is the abject failure of all things. I don't know. There's a lot of successes in that movie. There's a lot of good things you could take away from that movie. It had, I think, more effect shots than The Phantom Menace because George Lucas was, again, being a genius, changing the medium, deciding to really push things forward and make everyone have to compete on a whole different level, which is really something to be said about that. That's pretty cool. He did change filmmaking again. However, Star Wars 2 Attack of the Clones is so dumb. It's just dumb. It's bad. The acting is bad. There's the love story that you go, hey, why are you guys telling each other how much you love each other? Anakin and Padme. Yet I don't even care. There's nothing you're doing or saying. You're just saying you love each other and that you can't take how much you love each other. There's no chemistry. There's no real thing that's making us understand why you love each other. You're just having picnics and loving each other. There's no like traits that you're demonstrating that shows that you two are meant to be together, other than that you like to eat space pears together. What was wrong with it? You thought it was good? Star Wars Episode 2 or Star Wars Episode 9? Because I'm working my way from the one that I like the least to the one that is the best. Not even that I like the most. It just is the best, clearly. So Star Wars Episode 2, my bottom rung, that holds my 9 slot. And then you go, here, I'm going to have to like write this out first because I don't even know how to do this. So you got 2, And then you have Phantom Menace, guys. So you have episode 2 and an 8 slot. What was wrong with Star Wars episode 2? I think I explained that there was a love story that had neither love nor a story to it. Um, I think they should have done it like a three-way situation, a love triangle. I think Anakin and Obi-Wan should have become rivals because of perhaps there was a love situation happening between all of them. And that is how, like, hell hath no fury like an Anakin scorned. You know what I'm saying? Like a Darth Vader scorned. Episode 1 is the second worst. The Phantom Menace actually has redeeming qualities to it, other than a lot of the racial stereotypes that are bizarrely in that movie. I know I was talking about Disney earlier, how Disney, before a lot of the old animated movies, just have this little disclaimer that says, look out, guys, there's going to be some... When you're watching this movie, just keep in mind, this is when people were way more racist than they are today. Or at least more vocal about it. Episode 1, the problem is people think that Star Wars The Phantom Menace, I think the perception is that that is the absolute worst Star Wars movie, but it's not the absolute worst Star Wars movie, it's episode 2. The reason why people don't like episode 1 is because in their mind it was the biggest disappointment, because just think of all of how everything is built up, and then you went and saw episode 1 and how it set a new bar, a low standard of like, wow. So that gap between episode 1 and say Return of the Jedi, which was the span of SKYWALKER saga movies, in the order that came, it was Return of the Jedi, and then like 15 years later came episode 1. And it was just a huge letdown from all the buildup. But episode 2, you had really no expectations, so we might think that it was better than we thought it was, but it's actually a lot worse than episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace is the second worst. It's the second best at being worst. I'll get to that, Dooney, about the Clone Wars. I will get to that. I will talk about that. I will talk about that soon. Remind me, because I definitely will talk about that once I go through the list. So episode 1, I don't like it. I can watch a couple scenes of it. I do like the fight scenes. I do like the music. I do like, however, Ewan McGregor is good. He's good. The funny thing about the prequels is a lot of people crap on the prequels. They're like, oh, the prequels suck. They're terrible. And then you go, but then everybody's like, yeah, but Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and everybody's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, he was all right. Nobody debates Ewan McGregor as being the best part of the prequel movies. What's up, Business Will? Welcome. We missed you the last couple times. Today we're talking about Star Wars. May the 4th be with you. I know you have always something really interesting to contribute to the conversation, so I welcome you. Thank you for joining us. Right now I'm counting up my top 9 Skywalker saga movies from the bottom up, and I have already stated that Star Wars 2 Attack of the Clones is the worst. And then in my number 8 position is Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, which is, it's got its moments. It's got an entirely too long pod race scene, which doesn't have any climax or any kind of suspense, because we know that the kid gets off the planet. We're like, this all comes down to whether or not he wins this race, and if he wins this race, he can get off the planet, and he wins the race. You know what should have happened? He should have not won the race because of Sebulba cheating. Sebulba should have cheated, and then the kid should have not won the race, and then they should have figured out a different way to get him off the planet, which would have been much more interesting. But the kid wins, of course. George Lucas not letting us sit in a loss and be like, oh, the kid lost. He was not able to pilot his little homemade little speed racer, pod racer situation. Dumb movie. but it's also got Dionne Warwick Davis in it. So those are my bottom two. Now get this. I cannot figure out whether to put Star Wars Episode 9 or 3 next. Star Wars Episode 9 might be my number 7 position on the count up to my number 1 position. See what I'm saying? Star Wars Episode 9 is that bad. It's super bad. It's super bad. Not like the movie, but it's bad. Let me tell you. I'm going to put Star Wars Episode 9 there. I'm going to go ahead and put it there. No. I'm going to put Episode 3 there. Episode 3 is worse than Episode 9. I can't tell. You know what? Episode 3 is still a movie. But the problem with Episode 3 is this. I cannot handle the fact that they just give away everything. They're like, okay, this is Padme. She's pregnant. She had these kids. They're named Luke and Leia. All right, you just gave away what we're going to watch in the next 2 movies unfold. The next 3 movies unfold. So if you're watching them in sequel order, if you're watching them 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know how to count to 9, but once you get up to 9, if you watch them in that order, nothing is surprising. So there needs to be a different way to watch them if you even want to bother with the prequels. But I say skip them. I would say watch episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 and then stop. No, that's it. Hey, Bongani. You can come back to the IG Live. IG Live is maybe a little bit more advantageous in that it's a bit more instantaneous, and then my YouTube is about 15-20 seconds later. It's on a delay. But if you're on YouTube, please just like the video. That would help a lot. I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. I also want to congratulate Tatiana Wilkinson for being my the most recent subscriber. I know I don't see her in the chat today, but thank you for that. If you guys want to, she's not only a subscriber, she's a patron on my Patreon. So guys, if you want to contribute to my Patreon, it's Aristotle Full Throttle. It's patreon.com/Aristotle Full Throttle. And $1 a month, $2 a month. You can help with coffee. Listen, if you help support my coffee habit, that's wonderful, because you know that I've got pretty good coffee luck. I've doubled my coffee for the money this month because of a bank error in my favor. So you never know. $1, $2, $3 a month. That could be a lifetime supply of coffee, and then I could keep doing these. I'll stay alive. Will, so good to see you. Bongani, so good to see you. Kara, do not follow me. I'm serious, and I will tell you. Just so you know, I'm not saying do not follow me, I'm serious. I'm saying the name of do not follow me, I'm serious. That's his screen name or her screen name. That's their screen name. Episode 3 just gives it all away. Star Wars Episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith. Gives it away. They're like, hey guys, just so you know, the greatest reveal in cinematic history, you know that part in The Empire Strikes Back? When Darth Vader says no, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to spoil Star Wars for you guys. I know none of you have seen it. But when Darth Vader says that, it's kind of like the biggest, most revealing moment anyone's ever seen in a movie up until that point in history of moving pictures, talkies, if you will. Nobody ever seen something like that. People didn't believe it. So when in Episode 3 they just go, look, by the way, this is what's going to happen in 2 movies from now. You're going to find this out? It's not surprising. You start watching Star Wars from 1977, A New Hope. It was never called A New Hope, by the way. It just came out, it was called Star Wars, and that was it. And people just paid to go see Star Wars, and then the sequel was called The Empire Strikes Back, and then that was it. There was no subtitles situation until later, and then they started to be calling Star Wars then something something because it's better for marketing, branding. Very smart to call the movie one thing, so you know what you're getting by brand. That's why I hate Episode 3. I don't hate it. I just say, you know what? The only thing worth watching in Episode 3 is the last 45 minutes, I say. I would say that if you're going to do a viewing of this whole series, just watch episodes 4, 5, the last 45 minutes of episode 3, and then 6, 7, and 8. And that's it. And then watch Rogue One, and then start over again. And then you're done. So you end on Rogue One, and then start back on episode 4. That's the ideal viewing situation in my book. Rogue One is still, it's a good bonus material. Is This Will says, the way T2 changed the tone and nature of the Terminator franchise to be more action-oriented, the rise of Vader and decimation of the Jedi to be more like Terminator to the original trilogy's T2. Yeah. I'm not sure what I understand that. Let's see. Wait. Yeah, like I suppose the Star Wars, they do become more action oriented instead of story oriented. But T2 has a lot of story in there. It's got enough story to keep that floating. Keep the action compelling. So if you got a movie that's a fetch quest like Star Wars Episode 9, where everything is just like straight up, oh, now we gotta go here to get this thing, and then we gotta go there to get that thing, when you could have just gotten that thing, or you could have just went there. Now you just add in like adventure steps because you don't even know how an adventure works. You don't know how one thing compels the next thing, You don't have a staff of Imagineers over at Disney to come up with these things. Come on, guys. Come on. You could do this. You guys are paid millions of dollars. I could do this in my living room. In fact, I do it in my living room, guys. Thank you. President Hollywood needs to cut me a check. I'll tell you that one for sure. So in my next rung up the ladder, so again, to review, bottom of the line, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and then The Phantom Menace, because The Phantom Menace is a better movie than Attack of the Clones. It's just, there's more redeeming qualities. They spent more time working on it. They spent more time building it up and parsing it. And then Episode 2, just like all of the, the gloves are off. They were just swinging wildly into the dark with that movie. Then Episode 3. Then Episode 9, Fetch Quest. Star Wars Episode 9, Fetch Quest of the Stars, or whatever they call it. Not a good movie. Not very good. I was angry watching that movie. I sat in that seat, staring at the screen, going, come on, really? That? You're going to go ahead and do that? Oh, no. Oh, okay. So Rey, she's just a Palpatine now. That's what we're going with now. Okay. So none of the stuff that we even care about, nothing. Like, we're just going to recycle this. We're going to watch Return of the J.J. Abrams does a lot of this in his movies. Hey, remember when this happened? Let me do it, but not as cool. Like in Star Trek Into Darkness. Spoiler alert for Star Trek Into Darkness and for Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. He's like, I ain't going to bring Khan back. He brings Khan back, and it's like not as good for no good reason. There's no reason there's Khan. Excuse me. Sorry about my carbonated coffee situation. I don't know what's going on with me. But the guy in Star Trek Into Darkness, the guy J.J. Abrams, he's like, hey, why don't we do that very, 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 very famous and cinematically significant and heartbreaking scene where a main character dies, but instead, in my version, it's going to be the other character dying, and we're going to flip the dynamic, but it's going to be the exact same scene again that you already saw. See, J.J. Abrams just does that. J.J. Abrams does movies like by science. He doesn't make them compelling on their own. He really ought to. So, I would say that J.J. Abrams is he's not good. I would say, he's He's not really good at his job. I mean, he is good at his job. He makes a lot of money for Disney and for himself. He's actually taken over the Warner Brothers superheroes. He's gonna launch that whole thing. Because you give JJ things to, he's like starter fluid. He's really not. He's like barbecuing with starter fluid. You chop up the wood. You got your charcoal. That needs to catch fire. That needs to fundamentally burn so that there's some kind of substance, some kind of fuel source. J.J. Abrams is just starter fluid. You could blow it. You could burn your hand up. You could just squirt it on your hand and then light your hand on fire. Nothing's gonna happen. You'll be fine. Don't do that at home. Unless you're an idiot. That I can't tell you what not to do. But I don't recommend it. I'm not condoning you do that. But if you're an idiot and you want to have fun, knock yourself out. Just kidding. Just kidding. Don't want to get sued. Who would sue me? If one of you guys does this, I would love it because it would make everybody pay attention to how dumb the show is. Don't do it. Let me reread what Will says. At least what I was hoping for was the prequels to be... Yes. Okay, good point, Will. Will's talking about the Star Wars prequels, prequel series. Yes, it should have been much more. I think Darth Vader, I think Anakin should have become Vader by the midpoint of episode 2. If there's going to be a prequel trilogy, I think halfway through, that's when the change should happen. And then you could see how the galaxy is then taken over by him and why he's such a threat. But they didn't really do that. They just kind of like made him Darth Vader for the last couple minutes of episode 3, the very end of the original of the prequel trilogy, if you will. May the 4th be with you all today. We're talking about Star Wars here on Aristotle Full Throttle, IG Live, YouTube Live. You guys can go over to YouTube, AristotleFullThrottle.com, and support. You can support this channel by subscribing, by liking the videos, sharing them, also telling your moms about it. Like my mom is here today in the chat room. Hi, Mom. How are you? At least I know a few people are watching. Oh, see, it's hilarious because I just remembered there was a time I did some background. I did several background jobs. That's background acting, or as it were, what do they call that? Extra work. I don't know. They call it background acting. It's really not. It's just hanging out on a set, and then they place you in different spots. But I was on a show called Two Broke Girls one time years ago when I first got to Hollywood. I was in a couple of episodes of Two Broke Girls in the background. And you're supposed to be talking to the person you're with in the background. And in the background, the only thing I kept saying over and over again was, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom." So you can literally watch that episode that I'm in and read my lips. And I just keep saying that over and over again. Because I didn't care. Because it's goofy. It's silly. And I care about my mom. That's why I did it. And it's funny. But like, I didn't take the job seriously enough to pretend that I was actually talking. I thought it was more important to take that opportunity to say hi to my mom on TV. But yes, the Star Wars prequels should have revolved around the whole idea that Darth Vader had fallen to the dark side and there was some kind of conflict between him and Obi-Wan. But again, the bottommost Star Wars for me are episode 2 on the bottom, episode 1, episode 3, then episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Not a good movie. Don't recommend it. I'd say skip it entirely. I'd say just imagine what the finale was like. Just imagine where the story goes, because it's probably better than where J.J. Abrams took it. And then the next movie up, so now what do we got? Then the next movie up is The Force Awakens. Force Awakens right there in the middle. I'd say it's just a perfectly average Star Wars movie, maybe a little bit above average. Pretty good movie. Watchable, at least. It's got Max von Sydow. Rest his soul. He did. He died in the first 5 minutes of that movie. That's not much of a spoiler. But he did. In real life and in that movie. Very sad. It's not. He was a great actor. He's in a lot of Ingmar Bergman films because he's a Swedish dude, and he was in a lot of old, really good movies. But he don't speak English. He's also in The Exorcist. I don't know if you've seen The Exorcist, but it's scary. I've seen it many times when I was very young. Way too young to watch it. Sorry, Mom. Saw The Exorcist when it was too scary for me to watch, and I was terrified. So the movie left a lasting impression, and now every time I see Ming the Merciless or Max von Sydow, I'm frightened, and I vomit pea soup all over myself. Then the second one up from The Force Awakens has to be, now this might be controversial to you guys. You guys might find this surprising. Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi comes after that. Now we're getting into the top 4. Top 3. Top 4. Return of the Jedi. And then The Last Jedi. Changed my mind. The Last Jedi is good. The Last Jedi is a really good movie. It might even be better than Return of the Jedi as a movie. People don't like that movie because of what happens in it. But structurally, it's incredible. It's a friggin' fantastic film. It's so funny. There's a lot of times when people just don't like something because of, and I get it. You may not like a 9-minute song by the band Tool, but I might like it because it's incredibly composed and well done. So we get different things out of it. So I got a different thing out of The Last Jedi. A lot of people did not like The Last Jedi. Hey, Sanz84. We're talking about Star Wars today because it's May the 4th. And may the 4th be with you. All here on Aristotle Full Throttle. I'm just catching up on these. Also, the Sith and the rage-driven Episode 4 Vader was pretty chill when he ran to Obi-Wan. You think he wouldn't hesitate as soon as he saw Obi-Wan to wreck him? Yeah, I agree. In Episode 4, Star Wars: A New Hope, 1977, written and directed by George Lucas, distributed by 20th Century Fox. That movie, phenomenal as it is, yeah, when Darth Vader meets up with Obi-Wan and that, they just kind of like, oh, hey, I remember you. Yeah, I remember that time. And they were like, oh, do I remember? Yeah, I hate you for it. I hate you back. And then someone dies because of it. That was pretty much the conflict level in that movie. This at last we meet for the first time, for the last time, for the first time. Do you guys remember that? I was just talking to my friend yesterday, my friend David, and he was featured on another friend's podcast the other day because he does not like. David and I are huge fans of Star Wars. Huge fans of Star Wars. In fact, we saw like the last several Star Wars movies together in the theater when they were released. He was a guest on another friend's podcast yesterday talking about, and they watched live and commented on Spaceballs because David, for some reason, does not like Spaceballs. And I can't figure that out because David seems like the prime person to want to watch Spaceballs, but he doesn't like it. So his friend was going to watch it along with him and say, how can you not like this movie? At last we meet for the first time, for the last time. That's a great line. Spaceballs is just chock full of jokes. There's so many jokes in that. He likes the airplane movies. He likes the Naked Gun movies, but I don't get how he doesn't like Spaceballs. I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, David, what's wrong with you? Something's got to be amiss. But he just says that he just finds the jokes schlocky. I think that's the charm of it. Every scene, every line of that movie is a joke. Love it. I could quote the whole movie. Maybe the rest of the show will just be quotes from Spaceballs. I'm a Mog. Half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. Come on, guys. So good. What's the code? 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. I'm going to change the combination of my luggage. It goes on. It's so good. It's like 2 hours of that incredible comedy. Return of the Jedi, and then The Last Jedi in my number 3 spot. The top 3, The Last Jedi is my number 3, which only leaves 2 movies. It only leaves 2 movies. Star Wars Episode 4 and Episode 5. A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. Which is my favorite? Which is my second favorite? Every time I bring these two up, I bring these 2 movies up to people who are older than me, and then who are younger than me, and who are very young and who are very old. And everybody out of those 2 movies can choose their favorite out of all the Star Wars movies and say put it in their number 1 spot and adamantly argue why. I'm one of those people. I definitely have a distinct favorite of the 2, which has changed. It has fluctuated, but I'm pretty firm in my opinion now. But it could change. Who knows? Tomorrow, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, could be my favorite. But before I get to my number 1 Star Wars pick of all time, Dooney, aka Do Not Follow Me, I'm Serious, they brought up a thing. They said, what about the Clone Wars? I'm going to tell you something. I am going to confess something here live on the show. And my friend Judy has been saying that her cousin was like, listen, you need to watch the Clone Wars. You need to watch it. Like, seriously selling her on the Clone Wars, on Star Wars, the Clone Wars animated series, and also Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, another animated series. You have to catch up. They said you got to watch those two series. They just finished the Clone Wars. They added an extra season or a final season on Disney Plus. And the Clone Wars takes place between Star Wars' Episode 2 and Star Wars' Episode 3. That's when the Clone Wars saga happens. So, I've never seen it. I have many reasons why I've never seen it. One, because I'm a bit of a purist. But it's kind of a dumb excuse. But let me tell you why. I think you changed my mind on this. Star Wars is just a movie. Star Wars are movies. And I know there's a Clone Wars movie. But Star Wars is theatrically released live action story. And that's how it's always been told. And that's just the uniqueness of Star Wars. It is a film property a story that can really only be told in that medium, if you ask me, properly anyway, because that's where it originated. It originated in film. It's not based on a text. It's not animated. It's not a graphic novel. It has become all of those things. However, it is best told in film form because that is the nature of what it is. There are other movies like that too. I was just thinking about how the movie Arrival by Denis Villeneuve is unique to the medium. Because if you've seen Arrival, spoiler alert, you can see that there's a language that needs to be learned in the movie that also challenges your concept of the linearity of time and perception of time. And it's a really important part of that movie, which can really only be told in a visual medium like a movie, because you could flash parts of the end of the movie and the beginning of the movie and just be temporally all over the place while you're watching the story unfold, which is how the language in the movie works and how memory and precognition work in that movie. So I think that that's a really cool way to tell a story like that on film, because you could show it out of sequence, out of order, temporarily displaced the whole time. Really fun. I didn't watch the Clone Wars. I didn't want to watch the Clone Wars after the first 10 minutes of watching the Clone Wars. I didn't want to watch the Clone Wars before I watched the Clone Wars, but my friend David, I told you about him earlier, we watch Star Wars, we're big Star Wars fans together. He lent me the Clone Wars on DVD for a few years ago. I had custody of them for about a year and a half, and he kept asking me, did you watch the Clone Wars yet? And this is before it was on any streaming service or anything. I was like, fine, I will watch it. He said, I think you'll really like it. He really likes the Clone Wars. However, I said, if Yoda pulls out a lightsaber at any point of this, I'm switching it off and never turning it back on. Within the first 10 minutes of the first episode, Yoda, little mini 850-year-old Yoda, who walks with a cane. Guys, now there's two different schools of thought on this. And I'm firmly in the camp of Yoda not Yoda, the quote Yoda says in The Empire Strikes Back is size matters not. That's like the whole point. The point is he's this little tiny old creature who can lift an X-Wing out of a swamp because size matters not. The fact that he pulls out a lightsaber in Star Wars episodes 2 and 3 and in the Clone Wars series, I was like, shoot me now. This is just a completely misread. This is a misread of this character. You do not understand Yoda if you make him jump around and fight with physical force. It's the dumbest thing. I still can't get past it. I'm sorry. I know it's very disappointing to a lot of people, but I had to stop the Clone Wars then and there. But I might give it another try for research purposes because of all of the urging from all of my Star Wars friends who were like, you gotta just get past that. It doesn't happen that much. It doesn't really happen again. Does Yoda suddenly learn that size matters not again? I mean, come on, Yoda. You don't need a lightsaber. Stop it. You can outsmart people. I like that you caught the Force lightning from Count Dooku. I like that you caught it and turned it into a ball and was like, size matters not, bro. But then when you pulled out a lightsaber, I was like, I gotta try to unsee that. Now we're at the top two. The top two, The Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars. Which one is your favorite? Because there can only be one. And those are in my top two positions. Those are rightly in the top two positions. All right, I'm going to give it away. Star Wars Episode 4 is my number 2 slot. I appreciate what it's done, but people who love Star Wars Episode 4 the most, I feel like saw it when it came out, and it's like left them in a huge impression on them because there'd never been a movie like that before. Never been a movie like that before. Ever. They just like came out of nowhere. People were shocked and amazed. I've got 2 minutes left on Instagram Live, and I'll tell you why I like Empire Strikes Back better than Star Wars Episode 4. The Empire Strikes Back expands the universe and owns the universe. It makes everything, it develops everything. It develops the characters. The characters have new layers to them. We see the Force used physically, like the telekinesis aspect of the Force for the first time in the first scene. We don't even question it. Or one of the first scenes, the first part of the movie, where Luke is hanging upside down and there's the bantha and he says like this, and he just makes the lightsaber move. That was pretty cool. Notice he didn't do that in Episode 4. It was the first time we saw another layer to the Force. And it just expands everything. It's a downer. It leaves everything on a cliffhanger. Like I am going to leave this on Instagram Live. If you guys want to jump over to YouTube, you just go to AristotleFullThrottle.com and then check out the live stream because this is going to continue maybe for a few more minutes. We'll wrap it up. We'll talk about some more Star Wars. But in the meantime, may the 4th be with y'all. Y'all rock. Thank you guys for joining me every day. Every day at noon, we're going to be talking about silly things. Tomorrow, I decided we're going to talk about movie rules. Not just that movies rule, but movie rules. Like strange, weird, arbitrary rules that are made up on movies. Like, oh, you can't feed the gremlins after midnight or get them wet. Or don't cross the streams because, you know, that's going to happen at some point in the movie. That's what happens when you cross the streams, guys. When you ever see a movie and they introduce a rule, they're going to break that rule. Count on it. There's no point in bringing it up. We'll talk about vampire rules, werewolf rules, all the rules tomorrow on Aristotle Full Throttle. Here again at noon. I'll see you then. Aristotle Full Throttle, you bro in the know with the fro. I'll see you tomorrow. What's up, guys? It's just us here on YouTube. Chatting, hanging out. But The Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie. because it's the best one. It's just the best movie. It's got the best development, story, adventure, weird time, use of time that they kind of bring back in The Last Jedi. That when you're training, time, I guess, goes by differently. Maybe they could address that. Maybe they do address that in the Clone Wars, and I just don't know that. But Luke is on that rock on Dagobah for weeks. Yet, I guess Leia and Han Solo and Chewbacca are stuck in the gut of that space worm with the Minox for weeks, because I don't know, maybe they are. They could have just put a little across the screen. 3 weeks. 3 weeks later. They could have done that. Well, guys, it's been a wonderful May the 4th so far. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all staying clean and washing your hands and putting your effing masks on your effing face, according to Michael Rappaport. I don't know if you've seen his PSA on how to wear your mask, which is over your nose, under your chin, tightly on the sides of your face. Remember to do that. Don't go walking around with it like under your neck. I look out this window and there's people walking past my window all the time with their mask down here like this. That's a chin strap. It's not a mask, guys. Cover your face. Cover the particles coming out of your mouth, because it's for that reason and that reason alone. And also not touching your face. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of retconning in Star Wars. We could have done that. We could have talked about retconning, Will, on how much retconning they're doing in Star Wars, but like sort of passively, secretly retconning things. They're just like, we're just not going to bring midichlorians up again. We're just not going to bring that up again. People seem to hate it. We're just not going to bring it up. We're never going to say that word again. Darth Sidious. That's a name that's uttered in The Last Jedi for the first time. Empire number 3, because without Star Wars doesn't work. Compare that with Last Jedi, where if you change the characters and the lore, the story is pretty much solid hero's journey. That's interesting. I like that. I do like Empire because I feel like cinematically it's a bit more advanced than Star Wars. I think that it takes everything to a seamless level, where Star Wars is really cool, but there was sort of this finding its footing in visual effects. So to me, that starts to crack around the seams a little bit. And if that makes any sense, you can't crack around the seams. It starts to come apart at the seams or crack around the edges a little bit. And the fact that Empire just feels more cohesive. And I like that Star Wars Episode 4 is en medias res. We're just thrust into the story. We don't know who these people are. Things are just happening. Same kind of thing happens in Empire. And you can jump onto the story pretty quickly. And I do remember watching Empire Strikes Back more, and probably for the first time. And I guess it depends on which movie you saw first. And I saw that first, and I thought, yeah, I can get into this. As a kid, I could just get right into it. I was on board. I was figuring out what was going on. But a lot of the story is compelling on account of what is set up in Episode 4. Oh, Bongani asks, what? Bongani always wonders why I still do live streams with such few people watching. I mean, I love your streams, but, I just wonder. Yeah, me too, Bongani. Me and you both. But hey, something to do. I appreciate that you're here. You guys are here every time. Why wouldn't I? So, there you go. There's your answer. Here we are together on the live stream. And also, Will, that is a good point, that these videos will stay up on the channel, so you can rewatch them at any time. You could join the discussion or listen along or listen like a podcast in the background while you're washing your dishes or mowing the lawn. You can put on your headphones and put your phone in your pocket. Download it. You got Empire at number 2. Okay, because I was wondering if you had The Last Jedi as number 2, Will. But The Last Jedi, that could fluctuate. It's either 2 or 3, because just as a movie, listen, I know people don't like it, and that's unfortunate, and that's fine. y'all can have your own opinions, but it's a good movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's got so much stuff in it. It's done by like arguably the best filmmaker besides George Lucas, who did Star Wars. George Lucas, and I'm going to go out on this one, he is a genius. He's beloved. We all forgive him for his stupid ideas that he has because he came out with so many good ideas. He came out with so many good ideas that we can overlook the bad ones. And that's what life is really about, guys. It's about having lots of wins. You're going to have lots of losses, but having lots of wins too. And the only way to do that is just to keep doing. One foot in front of the other. It's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you can get back up and keep moving forward. I think Chewbacca said that in Rocky V. But yes, guys, thank you so much. Yeah, Bongani, I get it. People don't like The Last Jedi. That's fine. That's fine. I see why people don't like The Last Jedi, but I also see why, that's wrong. I'm kidding. Listen, I know a guy, his favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones. It's his favorite Star Wars movie. He does not mean that like sarcastically. He's not joking. He's serious. He likes Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And look, you've got 9 movies from the Skywalker saga. Any one of them can be your favorite. You can also be free to hate every single one of them. That's your choice, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of top 9 lists. They're yours forever, that you can have forever. And The Last Jedi will always be high up on that list for me, because I feel like as a film, with the visuals, with the character development, with the themes and the stories, and just like the way it's crafted, I get that the casino planet is kind of dopey, but it kind of emphasizes the theme of repeated failure. And what is life but not a series of failures, but some wins. Remember, you can't get those wins. It's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get up and keep moving forward. And I mean that, guys. It really is. You got to be Captain America. You got to be Captain America on the field when you're facing down Thanos' army and your friend Thor is knocked out and your friend Iron Man is knocked out and all your buddies just got crumbled down in the Avengers complex. They're underneath the ground and it's just you with a broken shield and a broken leg and a broken arm. You got to get it back up. You got to get back up because then there might be a nice Deus Ex Machina to save you, which is all of your friends showing up to back you. Guys, courage. It's the thing we need most in life, really. And Dave Letterman he said he has found that even faking courage, pretending to be courageous, is just as good as the real thing. So do your best, people. Do your best. I appreciate you. I care about you. And Rose Tico, Sister Bomb are part of the established drama. Yeah, it was good. There's like a lot of cool use of slow-mo. Listen, when I saw that Rian Johnson was going to direct a Star Wars movie, I was like, get ready for the slow-mo. It's going to be lots of slow-mo. I've seen his other movies. Heavy use of slow-mo. And sure enough, in Star Wars, Episode 15, Episode 8, The Last Jedi, there's lots of slow-mo. Yes, Bongani. And then Thanos slaps his fingers. Thanos really slaps. I mean, have you heard his raps? I'm Aristotle, full throttle, your bro in the know with the fro, and I'll see you later.